Trees.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July meeting of the Greencastle Common Council. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome everyone. Linda, can you call the roll, please?
Councilor Mark Hammer.
Here.
Councilor Adam Cohen.
Here.
Councilor Stacy Langdon. Here. Councilor Veronica Pedrell.
Here.
Councilor Cody Eckert.
Here.
Councilor Dave Murray.
He is not zoomed in, so I don't have him on.
Okay. And Councilor Jacob Whiteman.
Here. Okay, next item of business is public petitions and comments. So at this time, I'd like to call up Mr. Tyson Conradi and with WREB.
Good evening. Thank you, Council, for letting me speak. My name is Tyson Conradi. I'm the Director of Corporate Operations for Three Towers Broadcasting, or we call it Giant FM. We have just recently purchased WREB from Mark Lang. A little background about myself. I actually used to work for Mark when I went to Vincennes University for 2 years and 10 months. So when I had a chance to work with our company to be able to purchase this radio station, I was kind of excited because I knew Mark pretty well, and it was kind of fun to reminisce. And of course, Mark picked on me, which is fine. That's how it usually works. My background, I actually am a city councilman for the city of Shelbyville, 5th Ward, my first term. So I do that. I'm also a volunteer fireman, and I help run the radio stations. We have stations in Shelbyville, Greenfield, and Rochester. That's going to be fun to get used to, by the way. Basically, we are a very local radio station. I mean, we do local news, local sports, local everything. I'll be on the air in the afternoon. I'll be here a couple days a week as I share my responsibilities. The community will meet our majority owner and general manager, Scott Huber. His radio career started back in 2001. The funny story about him is his radio career started the day after 9/11. So that was a kind of a wake-up call. Johnny McCoy is our news and sports director corporately. You'll see him. You'll hear him on the air too. And his background is from Illinois. Went to Southern Illinois University, majored in radio. I went to Vincennes for my associates, and I just got my bachelor's degree from UIndy in communication, broadcast engineering, and electronic media in May of 18. There we go. Kind of a mouthful. We want to come and invest back in the community. As far as we're looking for a place downtown. We're going to build a brand new studio. I do have some photos here, just a very simple Word document of our Shelbyville studio and our Rochester studio. We are looking at what the need is here at REB, and I know that there's definitely some updating that needs to occur, and we're going to do that. And we're going to do it downtown. We prefer to bring it back to Greencastle. And back in college, I remember the words were public interest, convenience, and necessity were the requirements of being a licensee of a radio station. And I feel we do that pretty well. You'll see me. I mean, you're going to be, Johnny will be making phone calls, talking to you, Mayor, and your staff. I also work really closely in Shelbyville. I am the liaison for police, fire, and EMS for Shelbyville, so I work really well with our public safety. And, wanting to have people come in. I know Alicia's going to definitely stay on board and help us run the radio station as the operations manager, which she currently is. So we want to lean on her for some of the local connections and shaking hands and kissing babies, for better words. And we're just really excited to be here, and we want to give you guys back that radio station that you guys truly deserve, because every town needs a radio station, and that's the way I feel. And I know Mark has owned it for like 20-something years, and he has his reasons of whatever he did, but we want to definitely flip it, and we want to return the faith of the radio station to the community.
Well, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions, comments? I can answer about anything.
It's exciting to think about having the studio downtown.
It's going to be downtown.
I can see the picture here. You're right on the square.
We just got that done. We've put a lot of money into our Rochester project. The Shelbyville project's been built for a couple years. I will tell you that it's not cheap. And it's going to be really pretty and really nice, and we would definitely want to be a staple in the community and be involved and so on. So we definitely want to do that. So, questions, comments?
Is there a location already?
We're working on one. Funny thing is, like, we were here a couple weeks ago, and we stopped into the Remax Realty and went, hey, we need a place to put this widget business, because we couldn't talk, we were on a non-disclosure at that time, and they were really nice over there, and they were kind of giving us ideas, and I know we're looking at one, and we're working with the landlord right now, but there's a tenant already in it that's going to be, I guess, leaving in December. We're trying to maybe possibly sublease that. It's a really nice place down the street. There you go. But if anybody has any ideas about, we really want to be on the square. Or is it a square or circle? Because we call it is it a square? We call it a circle in Shelbyville, so I have to get used to that terminology. So it's a square. So we definitely want to be definitely in the public eye, and the door is always open, and anybody is welcome to come from any office or any board or organization, or anybody can come and talk and be on the radio, because we feel that we don't charge you guys to do that. We don't understand. We're community radio. It's the way it needs to be. And we're also going to, we're not going to be on satellite anymore. It's all going to be music in-house. I'll be on the air. Johnny will be on the air, our news and sports director, as a jock. We're going to use Alicia on the air as an air talent and stuff. So, I mean, it's going to be people you can actually see and come talk to and engage with. It's not going to be somewhere from Dallas or wherever.
A few DePaul Media students.
Oh, even better. We love college interns. I love them.
Join the team. They have a Media Fellows.
Oh, I love it.
You might want to look into.
I love it. I love when young people.
Part of the Media Fellows program at DePaul?
I am not familiar, no.
If you reach out afterwards, at some point, one of us can get you hooked up at DePaul.
Well, everybody can get a business card. I have plenty of those.
DePaul has a
thank you.
special program for kids
Yeah.
that want to go into media for a living.
We definitely want to do that, because we know we definitely want to utilize the relationship with DePaul and continue the relationship you guys have with the city and the college and stuff. We definitely want to do that for sure. It's rather important to have young blood, as I call it, because I started radio when I was 9 years old at 103.5 in Syracuse, Indiana. I made a phone call to the local radio station, said I want to be on the radio, and the owner-operator said, sure, come on in and see what we do, and I never left. So I've been doing radio for about...
A few recruits for your other stations, too.
Well, yeah, that's true. We do have more properties, and we're definitely excited to have... This is our third property, and the funniest thing is we will take over August 1. That will be 2 years to the day we took over Rochester.
So we continue the local sports broadcast?
We are, yeah. We're going to keep Doug. Doug's going to do his thing, 50 years. We like him a lot. He's going to continue. We're still trying to learn we're really used to using a Greencast, like the city of License is our main school and stuff. We're still trying to work out that schedule and stuff, because we're not used to having 4 high schools with football. We're used to 2, where we're a primary at Shelbyville station, but then we carry Triton Central, which is also in the county. But we're working out that, and we understand that they play Cloverdale, South Putnam, North Putnam. We're familiar with all of that. So we're really trying to learn it and learn the ways, and try not to be strangers. We want to become a member of this community.
I appreciate you recognize the value of the visibility in the community.
Yeah.
Of course, our print media here
Yes.
in Greencastle
Very
is
good.
also present on the square, and community media of all sorts. I think the visibility in our community right at the center is it's the hub of what keeps us going.
When we moved to Rochester, we had a really good we found out there was a really good presence of RTC, and they do TV and they do internet and they do and all that, and we really work with them too. So we definitely want to, wherever we can, share the resources, because we're a staff of 2 here technically. Be me and some other folks. I mean, it's pretty small. So
They're spread.
you'll see people come, but as far as that. So
And I would go so far as to add that REB, at least as far as social media presence is concerned, has actually often been the ones to break local stories as they're occurring in ways that are very impactful for our community, and we value any opportunity to continue that opportunity to be timely.
we definitely we do that in our other properties. We try to be the source of the fires and the crashes and the sad news that happens in the community and
street
stuff.
closures.
Oh yeah, that too. Oh yeah.
Boil orders,
Oh, all that. Yeah,
all that fun stuff.
Welcome to it.
Yeah. Maybe some good stuff, too.
Oh yeah, that too.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we're definitely we're all excited about First Fridays. We hear that's a really big thing here. We're definitely involved in that. And you guys, just like any town, you guys share a lot of similarities, of events that we cover on other properties. And of course, being on council, I'm involved in that as much as anybody. So I get it.
All right.
Sounds great. Well, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, and any questions, I'll leave a card, and the door is always open. It really is, guys. There's no, you can call me anytime you want to, or you'll meet other people and stuff. We have a very good open door policy, and we want to, like I said, be a member of the community and do what we can.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Did you leave a
Okay,
card?
any other public petitions or comments?
Did you leave a card somewhere?
Oh, I have tons of them over here. I'll give them to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stay for the meeting. Okay.
Okay, seeing none, we next have a street closure request from Moore's Bar for Halloween 5K and Kids Fun Run. Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie Meyer, co-owner at Moore's Bar. What we're asking for, we want this to be an annual event, but Moore's is basically the sponsor. The reason for it is basically a fundraiser. We have an endowment that we give 3 scholarships at the high school. This one will be specifically for the Mackenzie Meyer Scholarship, so all proceeds will go into that endowment to help us keep that going annually. But what we'd like to do, October 23rd, is have the South Indiana Street shut down from 4 to 10 p.m. We're partnering with Crossroads Events. It's the exact same company that did the Shamrock 5K. They're really great people, and they make it really seamless. So then we're going to have the Kids Fun Run start at like 5:40. It's just a mile, and they'll just go out a half mile, come back. We're going to have trunk or treat, activities for the kids, a big kids zone, costume contest. And then for the 5K, that'll start at 6. And I sent a map. I don't know if anybody has them. I ran out of paper. I think I only have like 4.
This one?
4 or 5, but there's,
It's in the packet.
you do have it? Okay. So you can see where it goes.
It's in the first document, right after the minutes.
It'll start and end in front of Moore's, but basically it's going to go down South Indiana Street to Berry Street, up Locust, Anderson. It's going to go through the park, then over to Wood Street, up to Seminary, then back to Indiana Street. So it'll start and end in the same place. We've already met with Tom Sutherland, my husband did, to speak with them because we'll be crossing that main Bloomington Street twice. And Pete met with the park board last night, so that's approved to saunter through the park there. So I think it'll be a really great event, you know, more of a community event. This really is not a Moore's event. We're just a sponsor. We'd like to have some type of music outside, whether it's, you know, a DJ or some, probably most likely a DJ. That's most of the races I've been to. That's usually what they utilize, but there will be no noise after 10 p.m. or anything like that. So that's what we're asking for. So any questions?
Lori Hardwick isn't here tonight, but I did
Right.
want to confirm, you mentioned costumes, so costumes would be...
I've already talked to Lori, yeah. Because Lori is the Halloween queen.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have it for adults and kids, both, for the costumes and all kinds
I would
of.
make a motion to approve the request for Moore's Bar, the fun run.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion?
I was just going to say that the kids run, I was going to say that it's more my speed, but then I thought that's not accurate at all. I was going to say it's more my distance.
Well, you know, just
walk
dress
is
up
more
like a kid. There's a lot of walkers in 5Ks, and we have a little walk, jog, run group that meets every Thursday at 6 out at Moore's. And most people walk. It's just more about getting together, at least getting out and doing something, getting some fresh air. So hopefully it'll be an annual event and bring the community together, and I'll have to get the radio station out there.
One comment, be sure to touch base with Ryan Penrod at the Y, because they've got a pretty good runners group over there in Brazil. There may be some people that might want to come
Okay,
over.
absolutely. We'll do that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll get you the paperwork, and Roy will get with you on all the insurance stuff.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the public hearing for the Chiota tax abatement request, and Kristen Cleary is here representing Chiota if there's any questions, and then later on the agenda we do have the resolution to take the formal action on the request. So I'll go ahead and open the floor if there's any comments or questions on that? I don't see anybody jumping up right now, but council is welcome to answer or ask any questions that they would like.
Barring none, then I'll move to close the public hearing, and council can ask again when it reappears in a couple minutes.
I'll second that.
You laughing?
All the people standing up there.
Okay, we
Jumping
have a
up.
motion and a second to close the very short public hearing. So all those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Okay.
think once, Jake, in my career, somebody came and objected.
Okay. Next, we have department reports, and several of our department heads are here. I see Rod getting ready to jump up and mark it for the Parks Department, and I think he'll have a brief update of Celebrate 4, and I think some very nice numbers to share about the pool.
Did you say brief?
Come on, guys. All right. Yeah, all I wanted to do, you got my report. I just wanted to take some time to thank everyone for making the annual Independence Day celebration another great one. I want to thank the Friends of the Park Celebrate 4 Committee, Greencastle Civic League, the City of Greencastle, the Rokiki Foundation, our various food vendors, our committee members, staff members, and volunteers for all their help. I also want to recognize that the Mortonville Fireworks did an excellent display. It was nonstop for 25 minutes, and there wasn't a moment at all when there wasn't some kind of fireworks in the sky. It was it was fantastic. Mother Nature gave us a really good weekend. The 5K, we woke up to 57-degree weather, no humidity. The runners loved it. And then the 4th of July wasn't too bad. He did get a little warm in the afternoon, but it wasn't too bad.
Hey, it's July.
It was July, so yeah.
What were the numbers for the run?
We were at 70 people. We had 70 even. Yeah, so it's not the highest number we've had, but it's far from the lowest.
Just curious how it went on a different day.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
all.
It was, like I said, the whole event was great. A lot of people partook in the pancakes on Saturday morning, and then it wasn't the biggest gathering we've had on July 4th, but I'd say we hit probably 5,000 people in the park. So, yep. That's all I really got going. The pool is doing wonderful. I did put in your packet some information in regards to sales, and that I'll let you review that. The concessions is doing okay. All right. So at this point, we are from the first day we open, which is Memorial Day, to July 5th. We have brought in almost $52,000, $51,791.50, and then our concession stand is doing wonderful. Right now, revenues are at $13,726, so almost $14,000. And then compared to, we did do a quick addition of all of our expenses. Right now, we're sitting at about somewhere around $3,500, maybe $4,000 in supplies. So it looks like it's going to be a really good season. And that doesn't count the 20% coming in from Kona Ice, which at our last figures was about $1,000. So yeah.
So the concessions is not part of the 52,000.
Concessions is not part of the 52,000. So yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
On the traffic, the construction that's going on, is it impacting people getting in and out of the pool? Is it going to get worse? Do we know when they're going to actually shut that street down on Tennessee?
Okay. So for everybody's benefit, Wood Street and Tennessee Street right now are having construction done. They're going to tear up and replace the asphalt on both. It will affect the east entrance, Wood Street entrance, and it will affect the Tennessee Street entrance on the south side of the park. We're contemplating right now Wood Street entrance is closed. Okay, we've got that closed, and we are contemplating closing the Tennessee Street entrance, which will make the entrance off of Bloomington Street the main and one and only entrance, but we're trying to hold off a little bit on the Tennessee Street side until they start tearing up asphalt. But right now they have a great big hole in the middle of the road replacing some drainage structures and that, but to help just alleviate problems with that, with the crew working in there, we are looking at shutting that gate sometime soon. But we also know that there will always be a traffic pattern, some way to get to PCCS down there on the end.
Well, I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about the timeline. When's it going to be done? Is it going to go all summer?
I'm not sure right off the top of my head because they're concentrating on Wood Street first, and then they'll move to Tennessee. But they do,
it's
part
great.
of their contract, they have to maintain traffic on Tennessee Street to the businesses.
Right.
My office faces the pool, and it is so
Yeah.
great to look over there and see so many people and hear
Yes.
people at the pool, and
Right.
fantastic.
We've had warm days, and in my opinion, we've had warm days. We haven't had the hot days. I'm probably the only, I say it every year, I'm probably the only guy in town that pushes or hopes for a 100-degree day. So yeah, but anyway, we've had some hot days, and the crowd at the pool is wonderful. So yeah. And I would invite all of you to take a walk. If you're not going to go swimming, at least walk through the facility and take a look at it. Okay.
Thank you.
Is that it? Okay.
Thanks,
Hey,
Ron.
thank you. Everybody have a good evening.
Anybody have any questions for our other department heads? Police, fire, public works, planning, cemetery are here.
You say Tom's here?
Yeah, Tom's here.
You know, Tom really likes coming up here.
Yeah.
He needs us to prod him a little bit.
Well, Tom, there's nothing for you in particular. Well, it is, but I mean, nothing for your department in particular. But I just want to express my condolence, and I think all of our condolences of what occurred yesterday in Terre Haute. And I know how difficult of a day it is. And I thought the superintendent of the Indiana State Police did a really good job last night on television, stating his feelings and his emotions, and really, you know, he bared it all. And,
yeah,
it's
you know,
a terrible event.
That's a tragedy that I hope and pray we never have to happen here in our community. Now it's the third time that Terre Haute. I heard the mayor. There was I don't know if you saw the press conference today between the mayor and the chief and the lead investigator for the FBI that's leading the investigation of the shooting. But that's the third police officer that Terre Haute PD has lost in the last 10 years. And too close to home.
Yes.
Too close to home.
Yeah.
You know, when it happens in Indianapolis and it happens in Terre Haute, we're right smack dab in the middle of that. And people need to understand that Greencastle is a great community, but that same event could happen here just as we're standing here speaking. I mean, and we're not, immune to any type of event like that. So that's why we continue to train and continue to do what we do to stay vigilant and try to be prepared. And you can't always be prepared. You know, some of the stuff that I read on the news of that event happening, there's no explanation.
Yeah.
There's no explanation.
How would you say the morale of our police force is right now? I mean, we have a lot of younger officers, so that's got to be...
You know, I think within the office it's good, but when you look and see what's going across the nation and how people portray police officers, you know, it can get you down. It's gut-wrenching, but, you know, as we walked out of a restaurant today, there's a group of workers that were in there that's doing construction work in our community, and one of the gentlemen stopped us, and he said, you know, that was a messed up deal what happened in Terre Haute yesterday. He goes, you guys watch your back and you be safe. And so, you know, there's people, we have a lot of good people in our community that support us, and we know that, we hear that. But it is kind of tough time to encourage somebody to become a police officer in today's society. When you look at that, and I'm not saying it's in this community, but when you look at society and you hear cities and towns talk about defunding the police and take things away and doing this and doing that, it's we know as police officers that doesn't work. And so just continue to support us. That's all we ask.
You certainly will.
Yeah, your department has our love and heartfelt thanks. You know, it's brotherhood, and you guys go out every day. I'm just glad that, you know, this past year, the state of Indiana has been able to put $70 million to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy to go for capital improvements for training. That's going to save lives, hopefully.
Sure, yeah. Sure. And, you know, the thing about that is, Cody, is we have 10 or 12 police officers on our department that are certified instructors through the state of Indiana, and several, not all of them, but several of them are asked to come up there and be guest instructors to teach those new recruits that are going through the academy. And so, you know, our department takes training very serious, and it makes me proud as the chief to be a department that we have that training center there, and they're contacting us and say, can we get your men and women to come up here and help train? So it's a good thing.
Tom, can you, not to change subjects, but can you take a moment, we're not going to meet again until later, to talk about National Night Out?
Sure.
August 2nd, it's the change of venue, and there are a lot of changes going on, aren't there?
So there is some changes going on this year with National Night Out. It is Monday, August the 2nd, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. out the Putnam County Fairgrounds. That's the big change. And it's the reason why we are changing, and it has nothing to do with the department and Rod. Rod's on board with the change. Actually, Linda and I met with Rod. Linda Merkel and I co-coordinate this event, and this will be, since we didn't get to have one last year, this will actually be our 14th event for National Night Out. But we just have so many other agencies that are getting involved, we're just running out of space, and so we need more space. And the big thing this year is we've got Feel the Need tools for schools, helping us out with school supplies and backpacks this year, and even taking it a couple steps further. So when those kids come, they're going to get a backpack full of school supplies for their grade, specific for their grade, and they'll walk away with a pair of shoes and a coat, because we're coordinating coats for kids in it. I know it's going to be warm, and you don't expect to get a winter coat in August, but we felt like this is how we can better utilize some of our resources in the community. So that's what we're hoping to do. So we got all the other resources that are going to be there. They're going to be multiple emergency services. All the resources to help families that are in need will be there. And so we're looking at probably 40+ resources that will be there, handing out different things, probably even more than you put into law enforcement. There'll be a bicycle rodeo that will be conducted by the Kiwanis, the Jim Maxwell Bicycle Rodeo, by the way. So kids will learn how to ride a bicycle. There'll be a dunk tank for the kids to dunk some police officers, my understanding is, throughout the night. So yeah, we're just praying.
Are you going to be in the dunk tank?
No, I don't believe I am.
I think there are several sheriff candidates that might be interested in that.
I bet there is.
Can we take up a collection to put you in the dunk tank?
There might be some officers from the Greencastle Police Department that have the ERT team behind their name that might be in the dunk tank, from what I'm being told. But yeah, what we're going to hopefully have a great event. All the food that's provided that night is donated. We're working on that. Pizza, popcorn, snow cones. There should be a piece of fruit, hopefully apples, that can be handed to the folks that night. And hot dogs. And all that's donated to us, and we turn around and give it away, to the families that night. So.
Thank you for all your hard work. You've been doing this for years, I know, and it just gets bigger and bigger.
It gets bigger and bigger, and we have a core group that helps us. Linda and I coordinate it, but I'm not going to take all the credit. We have a great core group that helps us plan it. All the monetary donations that Linda works on every year. There's several businesses and organizations in our community that donate money to help us do this, and so it's just a community event that comes together to make our community better and help families in need.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you for your support.
Well, you've got it.
Any other questions? Also put in the report, since I'm up here, the guys are probably timing me back here, but that's okay, right? I usually don't come up.
Spend more time on than I did.
Yeah, I usually don't come up here, but I want to put in a plug for Assistant Chief Brian Hopkins and Officer Darrell Bunton. They coordinated the boot camp this year. We had the largest boot camp we've ever had. I think 43 kids. Rod's organization helped us do that, allowed us to use the park, and helped us throughout the day, the week that we did it. And we had multiple agencies come in and assist and do different things for these kids. And it was a great week. We had a lot of young ones, a lot of short ones. I mean, we had kids that probably over half of them didn't come up to my waist or chest. And so I was a little apprehensive about how young and small they were, but never had a single problem. Kids were well behaved all week long, and it was just a great time.
How many years have you done that now, do you know?
I
think it's long enough. Some of those kids are adults now.
Some of them are adults. My oldest daughter, who's 28, participated in it way back when, so I'm going to say at least 20 years, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, at least 20 years. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else have any other questions for our department heads? Scott will be up with the ordinance if there's any questions on that, but anything else? Okay, hearing none, department heads are dismissed, except for Scott gets to hang around for a little bit longer. Mayor's report, I'll try to be brief. We did receive some good news. We're actually going to get a little bit more money than the $2.14 million in Relief Act. The last number I received a week or so ago was $2.318 million, so about another $150,000. If that number holds, it could change again, but that's as of last week. I also would like to thank all the folks who participated in Celebrate 4. It was a wonderful event, a lot of volunteer help, organizations, a lot of our city departments offered support, and great vendors. I think most all were pleased. You probably saw in the paper that Putnam County is going with Hendricks, Boone, and Montgomery as part of the READY grant in pursuit of up to $50 million through the state of Indiana. That region was submitted as of June 30th, and the next step is the state will let us know if we're eligible for a region-wide $50,000 grant to do a strategic plan for the region. So we'll see what happens. That could result in some money coming here to Putnam County. We did distribute the grants to our small business community. 29 businesses received a check of about $8,620 out of the $250,000. Basically, we are open. We are still asking those who are not vaccinated to wear a mask for their own protection. Rod did submit the Land and Water Conservation Grant application, and there's a follow-up meeting on that where they'll do a site visit Monday morning. Otherwise, we did get our water grant submitted to Okra, and we're basically taking those same projects in that Okra grant and submitting those to the Indiana Finance Authority for a different pot of money, so there's a good chance one or the other. And I did receive an email that I think there's going to be some coordination between Okra and Indiana Finance on all these water and sewer projects, so we'll see what comes out on that, but I think there's a pretty good chance we'll get some funding through one or the other. So hopefully that'll continue to move forward. We continue to keep an eye on things out at IAC, and Work One continues to be engaged with people out there, helping them find new positions. And judging by comments from some of our other employers in town, there's lots of positions to be had. So hopefully people will land on their feet and be able to restart their careers pretty quickly. So I can keep it short and sweet. Any questions or anything?
Aaron, is there any update on the community center since?
Oh yeah, sorry. We interviewed our construction managers earlier this week. We are following up on some additional information, and we're hoping to schedule a Zoom meeting Monday the 19th for some follow-up questions with the candidates, and then the committee will make a recommendation to the redevelopment commission at the end of the month.
How many candidates interviewed?
We had 6 applicants and 4 were interviewed. So I can't tell you who because state statute does not permit me to do so, according to Lori. So
They were all excellent candidates, we can say.
all good firms to work with. So I mean, there's the caliber of interest in the project was very high.
It's good to know we have options.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Anything else? Okay, Linda?
So we're starting to get started on the budget. We're actually kind of a little behind, so we're going to have to get moving along here. But so I'll probably be, I think a few of you are on the budget committee. I don't recall which ones right off, but I've got that written down. So I'll probably be emailing you soon to get going on that. I do have the I've had here for a couple of weeks the salary survey back from our consultant that did last year. She did a very quick little update that she will do for us every year for just a very small fee. So I have those numbers. So, you know, I'd be able to first go around here as the mayor collects the rest of his information. We could start talking about salaries and what those raises would be and all that. So,
We got to look better than a couple of years ago, though, right?
What? Oh, yeah.
Salary survey?
Yes, we do not, it's not, we will not have that crazy to deal with, I mean,
Good.
like we did last year, so it's just,
A little tweaking.
yeah, it's just, you know, kind of a little cost of living increase. It's based on what's happened throughout the state. Oh, I can tell you that I did get the growth quotient, and that will be 4.3%.
Whoa.
I know, that's what I said, whoa, because normally it averages like 3.9 to 4.1, a lot of times 4.1, but the growth quotient is 4.3. So what that means is we will receive 4.3 additional tax on max levy this year. So that is a good increase. So I did receive that yesterday. And the mayor, our meeting with DLGF is August the 18th, so at 1 o'clock, and it will be in next year.
And the property tax money came in, and were you pleased with the amounts that came in?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of what we expected.
Okay.
Yeah, so nothing more than what I expected, so.
Okay.
And, you know, if there's anything that comes in between now and then, they'll make it up here at the end of the month, so. Yes, so we've got our property tax, he told you we got all of our grant money paid out. I think we've got some steps to get our COVID, that $2.3 million COVID money, and we'll take care of that. But yeah, the main thing here with our office will be budget, and budget.
We've already got meetings set up with department heads.
So
We
yeah,
had a first kind of go around last week and now get into the nitty gritty, so.
but salaries will be easy to handle this year.
Good.
But we still can meet and talk about those just so we know where we're at. So that's all I have.
Okay. Nothing I can think of.
I mean, I don't think anybody's listening, but I'll make my plea. If you are listening and you don't have a vaccine, please get a vaccine. It seems to work, and we're doing well in Putnam County, and let's keep it that way.
State Health Commissioner is doing a press conference tomorrow. Supposedly they're going to announce some new initiatives, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, our numbers aren't impressive, but if we just, you know, even in town, if we got 100 more vaccines, then that would make a huge difference statistically within our town.
I've got nothing.
We'll keep it at nothing as well.
Keep it moving.
The theme.
Nothing to report.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Next item of business is approval of minutes from the regular session of June 10th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the June 10th minutes as presented.
We have a motion and a second on the minutes. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item of business is approval of city claims, and Veronica came in to check those out.
I was in the office upstairs looking at claims yesterday. For the period ending the 8th of July, we have common council claims that you'll find in your packet. You'll find some a few standouts in there, including a $6,050 expense to fire service for a new 5-inch by 100-foot fire hose for our crew. A number of different disbursements for the aquatic park, including to HWC Engineering and Spear Corporation. We have a claim for $6,342 to Midwestern Electric for traffic signal maintenance. There are 3 different claims totaling $2,512.60 to Milestone contractors, primarily for surface asphalt. Some of the civil engineering consultants' work on Zinc Mill is detailed in two entries in your claims there for totaling $16,315 across two numbers there. There are entries for new ammunition for our police force through Gold Coast Armory and Kiefer's Aquatics, totaling $3,039.97, and for $801.50 respectively, and then $2,247 for pepper ball equipment for our police force. Finally, I'll note that we had a claim for $250 to Seniors Towing to help haul off a DPW vehicle which was involved in a collision. So all said, our Common Council claims ending for the period of the 8th of July 2021 is $107,703.94. Direct payables for this period ending the 8th of July 2021, some standouts include actually, I think there are 3 entries for Spiker for sidewalk projects, totaling $24,463. Our fuel expense to Co-Alliance, more direct payables to civil engineering consultants for Zinc Mill, Foyt's, another payment for the
should be Big Walnut.
Big Walnut, thank you. I have BW on my a payment to Bonavita Architects for work on the community center plans, and to Universal Sign for wayfinding a direct payable of $80,859.00, for a grand total of direct payables of $507,234.28. In addition to the payroll number ending the same date of $513,843.49, and a payroll pensioners figure of $18,508.98, we arrive at a total for the claims of $1,147,290.69.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion to approve these claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
Abstention.
Okay, thank you. Next item of business is old business. The first item of old business is ordinance 2021-10, an ordinance amending the text of the City of Greencastle, Indiana zoning ordinance. This is second reading, so we can read it by title only. Let me get down to that. Yeah, I think I've got it here.
It's towards the back.
An ordinance, it is that.
So it's ordinance number 2021-10, an ordinance amending the text of the City of Greencastle, Indiana zoning ordinance. And for the benefits of the public, this ordinance made some changes to our parking standards, primarily recreational vehicles, and to fence, hedge, and wall standards. And Scott is here if there should be any remaining questions that council might have. So
I'll move to adopt ordinance 20-10 on second, 21-10 on second reading.
I will second.
And I believe the only change was that one, I can't remember exactly where it was, but where we didn't, I don't think it specified front yard, I believe is what it was. It was in regards to the fencing and hedges and stuff. So that's the
And
only.
it has been updated.
And that has been that's the only update or change that was made.
Just your copy should have draft removed, which
Indicates it's not a draft anymore. Okay. Right.
Hearing no further questions, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Ordinance is passed. And Linda has the signature copy to come around.
The plans.
Okay.
They went down.
Okay.
Next item of business is ordinance number 2021-11, an ordinance amending ordinance 2020-7, an ordinance establishing the size of the departments of city government of the city of Greencastle, Indiana, fixing salaries for the employees of such departments, and fixing the salaries of certain other appointed officials for the year 2021. This is a second reading, so it only needs to be done by title only. Linda, do you have anything you'd like to add? So,
Unless anybody has any questions.
yeah. Brad will be very happy that you passed this because he has a candidate in line to take over the mechanic's position. So.
Good.
I make a motion to approve. Let me pull up the ordinance, I'm sorry.
Linda, while he's doing this, there's only one signature copy for this ordinance?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We're cutting down on paper.
2021-11.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? The ordinance carries. Again, signatures are coming around. Next item of business is, we're into new business. This is Resolution 2021-9. Resolution reaffirming Resolution 2021-7 and declaring an economic revitalization area and recommended tax deduction for Chiota USA Corporation.
Bill, we have a series of motions.
This one
It's a
we
little
have to
different,
read.
though. Yeah, this one's different,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
This is the
My fault.
second reading on the requested abatement.
Whereas the laws of the state of Indiana, specifically IC 6-1.1-12.1-1, provide for the creation of economic revitalization areas within the corporate limits of the city of Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, for the general purpose of providing property tax deductions to encourage private redevelopment of areas which have become undesirable for or impossible of normal development and occupancy because of a lack of development, cessation of growth, deterioration of improvements or character of occupancy, age, obsolescence, substandard buildings, or other factors which have impaired values or prevent normal development of property or use of property. And whereas the term economic revitalization area also includes any area where a facility or group of facilities are technologically, economically, or energy obsolete are located, and where the obsolescence may lead to the decline in employment and tax revenue. Whereas redevelopment means the construction of new structures and economic revitalization areas either on unimproved real estate or on real estate upon which prior existing structure is demolished to allow for new construction. Whereas rehabilitation means remodeling, repair, or betterment of property in any manner or any enlargement or extension of property. And whereas pursuant to the applicable laws of the state of Indiana, the Common Council of the City of Greencastle may create said economic revitalization area through the adoption of a resolution. And whereas the need exists to establish an economic revitalization area in order to encourage private redevelopment in the City of Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana. And whereas Chiota USA Corporation has planned the economic revitalization of their operations by investing up to $1,060,000 in new manufacturing and IT equipment to support additional operations and the retention of 267 jobs at their facility. Chiota USA Corporation seeks a tax deduction pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1, and whereas statement of benefits form, said form approved by the Department of Local Government Finance has been submitted to the Common Council on June 10th, 2021 and July 8th, 2021 prior to the installation of new manufacturing equipment on such real estate by Chiota USA Corporation, and that such statement of benefits are attached here to and marked Exhibit A. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Greencastle passed Resolution 2021-7 on June 10th, 2021 and advertised a public hearing for June 8th, 2021, and whereas the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, pursuant to the laws of the State of Indiana, does now hereby find that 1, the estimate of the value of the new manufacturing and IT equipment is reasonable for projects of that nature, the estimate of the number of individuals who will be employed whose employment will be retained can be reasonably expected to result from the proposed described installation of new manufacturing equipment. The estimate of the annual salaries of those individuals who will be employed or whose employment will be retained can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed described redevelopment or rehabilitation, installation of new manufacturing equipment. That any other benefits about which information was requested are benefits that can be reasonably expected to result from the described redevelopment or rehabilitation and installation of new manufacturing equipment and IT equipment. Totality of the benefits is sufficient to justify deduction. Therefore, based upon these findings, be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, on this 8th day of January 2021, pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-1, deems there to be a need to establish an economic revitalization area, that said economic revitalization area shall be defined as follows. Follows is a legal description of the Chiota site, commonly known as 2200 East State Road 240. Therefore, the Common Council of the City of Greencastle does recommend a deduction of assessed value for a period of 10 years as a result of the installation of new manufacturing equipment, all set forth in IC 6-1.1-12.1-4.5. The following abatement schedule applies to the eligible personal property that are part of the expansion project outlined in this resolution, starting at year 1 with 100% deduction and going to year 10, reducing the deduction by 10% per year, such that year 11 and beyond is 0%. The Common Council of the City of Greencastle does not recommend a deduction or tax abatement for special tooling, nor does Chiota USA Corporation request such abatement. The Common Council of the City of Greencastle further recommends and approves the application of the deductions herein for improvements and equipment installed pursuant to the Statement of Benefits from the approval of this resolution during the 24 ensuing months, August 2021 to July 2023. Passed and resolved by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle at its regular meeting this 8th day of July 2021 with appropriate signature lines. And Kristen previously mailed out the background information and other information to council. So, Kristen.
Thank you. So we had the plant manager here last time. We appreciated his forthcomingness that he shared with his plant. You're going to see a little bit of discrepancies when the SB1 is filled out. They've got a number, and then I sent you on some information on their payroll and on their community investment, and that payroll number was 256. On the SB1 it was 267. That's just the fluidity of their business. You might show some concern on those numbers, and very fair concern. They're as concerned. They don't want that number that low. They need more bodies. They just can't find them. So oftentimes these decisions are made based on job creation. They would love to create more jobs. They are applying for a program through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation called Manufacturing Readiness, and what they're doing is they're displacing entry-level positions with some robotics so that they can skill up those workers so that they can understand more IT and more technical skills. So they're taking everybody on staff. They're not doing away with any jobs. They're just, or any people. They're just simply, they've got to start creating things, so those entry-level things are being taken up by electronics, robotics, computers, and then they're skilling up their workforce. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you look at their community involvement, they are very involved. They came in 2018, and Bill encouraged them to get more involved because they were kind of light in that area, and so you can look at their involvement, and they've really beefed that up a lot. So that's one of the considerations you guys have always taken into consideration when making these decisions. So they're not adding new jobs necessarily simply because they can't find the people to add those jobs. If they could, they would, but they're just hoping to get some abatement on that new set of robotics and electronic equipment so that they can just continue to operate, basically. And that's where they're at right now at this point in time. We're just looking at bare bones operation.
After about the same time, Kristen and I went out and toured the plant with the president, and you know, like many manufacturing facilities, they got some pretty mundane jobs out that that they'd like to, as Kristen said, ratchet up. And they showed us some of the in-house equipment that they've put together in that regard, and it's pretty fascinating. They have really upped their engineering crew out there compared to what it was a number of years ago, where they were relying on Japan, and now they've got folks here in Greencastle that are doing some of that engineering.
And unfortunately, he was here last time, but Kevin, he is their first non-Japanese president for North America. And he came in right before COVID for 5 months, turned it around, and really started ramping back up. And then with COVID, you know, I mean, just everything was unexpected. So he's hoping that once we get back to, you know, just straight and steady, that he'll be able to continue to raise that bar again.
Go ahead.
Oh, just Kristen, if you could, you know, for the benefit of the general public, put the amount of this abatement in context to the other abatements that you've worked on, what does that actually amount to?
Sure. So other abatements that I've worked, it just depends. Oftentimes when they're expanding their actual facility, it's much, much greater. And then if they're switching over new operations, they have a lot more in manufacturing equipment. But in this one particularly, it's a smaller one, but it's a necessary one for them. We're talking about $1 million, $1,060,000. So total taxes over 10 years, then they would be paying $50,000, and without the abatement, they'd be paying $123,000. So it's going to save them $75,000 over 10 years. Again, this is brand new assessed value. It doesn't take away from anything that we've already anticipated in our community, and they desperately need this. And in order for them to keep their operations fluid and keep going, and to add these new robotics pieces in their equipment. And it's a great employer. We would hate for them to leave our community, and there's no threat of that or anything, but I'm just saying that when we can help a local manufacturer and employer out, we like to do that. So
Mark likes to point out that's $50,000 we're about to get that we did not.
Exactly.
Those 10 years.
Instead of doing it as, you know.
I guess, Cody, to put this at scale, later on we'll be considering their report on their expansion that they did a few years ago. And at that time, they invested $20 million, 10 in the building and roughly 10 in equipment. So this is a relatively small one, but
yeah,
the company has spent significant dollars here in the community in the past.
They have. And just to summarize, from '06, when they came, when we started tracking their payments, from '06 to 2021, they've paid $3,075,000 in property taxes. So they've definitely added to our bottom line there. So.
That's right, Adam. And I think the other about the 50,000, you know, we're giving up 75,000, but if we didn't have it at all, we wouldn't get the 50,000 over the next 10 years, and more into the future. And the other thing I think is in this tight labor market and struggling to find employees, it's good to be able to provide them, you know, that they're providing some equipment that's going to replace entry-level jobs that they can't fill. And try to, like you said, ratchet up the skill level of the employees they do have, and as well as their pay rate. So,
any other questions?
So I would make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-11. No, wrong.
9.
Where'd it go? All right, 9. Yeah, 9. Already moved on to the next one. -9. I'm sorry.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-9. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate you approve by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Kristen. And again, signature copies coming around.
Now I think I have it right.
Yeah, now we can.
Now
So
go.
we are about to do several motions in a row that are almost identical in wording, except for one key part in terms of their compliance. I'd like to suggest that we read the first motion in its entirety, then on motion 2021-11, then for the remaining ones, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, that we read by title and then focus in on the key component, which is compliance of the
Statement of benefits.
Statement of benefits, and have that summarized so we know what we're actually voting on versus just hearing a bunch of legalese over and over and over 6 times.
What was your motion?
That we read the first one in its entirety as we're legally required to do, and then for the remaining ones that we read by title only, and then simply get the summary of their compliance.
Just as to the premium brands or the rest of the company?
The other ones, the 12 through 16.
Each of the remaining ones through 16, what they have to do is show us, the gist of these motions is to show us that they are in compliance with the terms of the abatement. And that's really, as a council, what we need to focus in on versus the legal description of the property or
Yep.
So he won't be, what he's proposing is that this won't be read.
6 times.
Yeah, 6 times. It'll just be read once
It's the
in
header,
entirety, and then
effectively.
just by title only the other 5 times.
But we not skip the key component, which is the
We'll turn it over to
benefits.
Kristen.
Yeah, we'll turn over to Kristen for each one for
Yeah,
benefits.
it's not just premium brands. I would second that motion.
A motion to just adjust the readings a little bit. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 Aye opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the first one is Resolution 2021-11, and for the benefit of the public watching, all the resolutions take the same basic form, but will detail out the stipulations for each individual business. So 2021-11 is a resolution affirming Premium Brand Services, LLC, formerly known as Ascena Retail Group, Inc., of compliance with Statement of Benefits. Whereas Ascena Retail Group, now known as Premium Brands, has heretofore been granted certain tax abatements in consideration of certain benefits for the City of Greencastle, and whereas said company has submitted the following forms as of June 15, 2021, CF1RE for tax abatement on facility renovation granted in 2012, CF1-/RE for tax abatement on facility expansion granted in 2015, CF1/PP for tax abatement granted on equipment in 2012 and amended in 2024, and CF1PP for tax abatement granted on equipment in 2015. Whereas the Common Council has reviewed the CF1 forms, copies of which are attached hereto, and has found compliance with the previously approved Statement of Benefits. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, approves the CF1 forms as submitted as being in compliance with the Statement of Benefits previously filed by Ascena Retail Group, Inc. Be it further resolved that this resolution be made a record and filed along with the CF1 forms with the Putnam County Auditor. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle at its regular meeting this 8th day of July 2021 with signature lines. So, Kristen, you want to say a few words about Premium Brands?
Sure. So I'm going to give you some comparative figures as well. Ascena, now known as Premium Brands, you know that they filed for bankruptcy. We were concerned about that as they are a nice presence in our community. That was so that they are now under an investment capital group. And they have reconfigured their assets company-wide, and so what they are valuing, the current assets located in their Greencastle facility, is not nearly what they were valued at before, almost half. So I think that question was, or concern was raised, and so what they filed was directly impacted and directly attached to their current existing value. So, bankruptcy happened at December 31st. Well, bankruptcy happened earlier than that, and then new ownership happened at December 31st, January 1st. And so they are finally attaching all the values to their assets. Last year, 2020, they had full employment at 846. This year at 2021. And when I say that, it's usually by December 31st. Of 2019, December 31st of 2020. It was 846, it's now 664. So they have certainly dropped. Living through a pandemic, you're going to see that in all, that's going to be a theme that I have to share with you. However, their total payroll with 846 was 28,163,000. Now it's 29,268,000. Fewer people, more pay. So they are paying the people that they can get to stay and are loyal. They're working overtime, and so they're paying more in payroll. Our Ascena out here, or our Premium Brands now, they do direct ship to home. So they go and they pick from a huge array of women's clothing, and they pick them, they pack them, and then they ship them direct to home. They also have a distribution center over in Ohio where they ship direct to store. So that one's been impacted because some of the stores are being closed. So bricks and mortar are closing down, homes are not closing down. So ours is as robust as it ever has been. They are looking for people and would be happy to find some really good employees. They went through a situation where they had flexible working shifts, and then they got more rigid with their shifts, and now they've gone back a little more flexible. flexible because they just need to find that person, and sometimes some people that might be interested in working out there just can't seem to fit their shifts. So I think they've gone back to more flexibility, so they are trying to be a good employer. And so again, less people, but the same amount and greater in payroll.
Their abatement will be based on their new values, so they won't get like a bonus. It won't be based on the pre-sale values. It'll be based on the new sale values. So their abatement will, dollar value will correspondingly drop a bit.
And for education purposes, abatement's kind of easy in real property because you value that real property, you get 10 years direct line. With personal property, it's a little bit different. That's the machinery and equipment, IT equipment, because what they report on their federal return has to then be reported to the county. So on a federal return, you want that reporting so that you can get the depreciation, but on the local level, you don't want to report as much machinery and equipment because you have to pay taxes on it. But we link those together, so the assessor's office does that. And so what they're reporting on their federal tax return, they're also reporting as their personal property return. So,
in their employment numbers, I think when I'm looking at this, they projected back in the middle of last decade that they were going to be about 308. So even though they're way down,
they far surpassed.
Yeah, they're still way above that.
Absolutely.
So we can't ding them on that.
No, they started at 181.
Not that we're looking
12.
to ding them on anything.
Yeah, exactly. 181 in 12, and now they went up to 846, and now they're back to 664. So, I mean, they far surpassed what they
They'll be
expected.
ramping up again for the Christmas holidays again like they have in the past.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty soon, probably.
And again, they would employ more. They certainly have positions. They just can't find employees. So this isn't...
I think they're in complete compliance with what we originally gave them years ago. I'd make a motion to adopt it.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2021-11. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that resolution passes. The next signature is coming around again. The next resolution is for 2021-12. This is for Chiyoda USA Corporation. They have a number of layers of abatement here. CF1 PP for abatement on equipment granted in 2011, on equipment granted in 2013, on equipment in 2015, equipment in 2018, and real estate for the big building expansion to the south in 2015. So, Kristen, I'll turn it over to you again.
Okay, very good. I'm going to do exactly what I did with Ascena. In 2020, year-end 2019, they were at 353 total employment. They're now at 289. They were as December 31st. Now, if you'll notice what we just passed, they were only at 256. So they continue to lose employees through the pandemic. However, they would take... They'll take, and what they've done is they've upped their starting wage in order to fill some of that gap, and they're using management on the floor just to get product out. But so they have dropped down. Back in year end, they were at $18,297,000, and now they are at $13,614,000. So they have dropped $5 million total payroll between the 289 and the 353. Just circumstances beyond their control. They're a great company. They added that extra space back behind, put up a new paint line and everything else, and now, again, they're just ramping up and skilling up their employees.
And from the looks of things, again, in the employment numbers, they started out in their first abatement, one of the early abatements, only expecting to have 97 employees. And then they went on up from there. So even though they're down, they're still well above where we started.
Exactly.
So.
How many years are left on this abatement?
Well, there's multi-level. So like the first one's 2012, so it's probably going to be done next year or the year after. Once again, it's when they put it in service. So sometimes it stretches out over 12 to 18 months. So the first one's 12, then 13, 15, and 18. 15 is the year that they did the real property expansion.
And as they get in the later years, the abatement really isn't that great because it's down to 10, 20, maybe 30%.
Exactly.
As opposed to those early years when it's 100 and 90 and 80.
Exactly. And then and since you just approved one, I mean, that adds another 10 years to the new one, so. Mm-hmm.
Not to the other ones.
No, no, they're already phasing in. We're phasing those in.
Yeah.
So.
Like on the south building, 21, pay 22 will be year 5 of the 10-year abatement schedule.
I move to approve resolution number 2021-12, a resolution affirming Chiyoda USA Corporation in compliance with statements of benefits.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. That one takes care of it. Set of signatures coming around. The next resolution is 2021-13. This is a resolution affirming Crown Equipment Corporation of compliance with statement of benefits. They have 4 abatements going. CF1 RE for tax abatement on facility expansion granted in 2011. CF1 RE for tax abatement on facility expansion granted in 2017. Personal property for tax abatement on equipment granted in 2011. And personal property for tax abatement on equipment granted in 2017. So, for example, on this one, on the real estate granted in 2011, it is actually the 10th year of 10, and this is the big addition that was put on the east end of Crown's building. So, Kristen?
Absolutely. So that one is in its final year, and the other one, it's in year 4 with 6 left. But so Crown's a great employer. And so in 2020, they were at total employment of 750. At 2021, it's at 672. So they were at 35,343,000. They're now at 29,824. And again, this is year-end 2020. So maybe in the last 7 months, they have changed those numbers a little bit and ramped back up. Again, usually they're more consistent, but coming out of the pandemic, it just kind of gets crazy. So, and if we look, originally they were at 302 employees. So when they asked for abatement the very first time, so they're still double what they were at.
And they've got a big for hire sale out in front of their, or for hire sign out in front of their
Just like everybody else in that row.
Well, more importantly, when they asked at one point in 2012, their payroll is what, 12,548,000, and now we're looking at 29,824 plus.
Yeah.
In payroll. That is crazy.
Yeah. And what Crown was impacted more directly than some of them, not that not every single one of our manufacturers was impacted, but they sell internationally, and so even when things began to ramp up in North America, some of their sales were down internationally, and then they ramped up and they immediately needed product. So they had furloughed some of their employees. They never laid anybody off, but they took voluntary, and so they were kind of on a hiring freeze. And then when it ramped back up internationally, they immediately needed people to start producing, and they're still needing people. So they're just a little bit unique because, like I said, of the international component of their business. But again, another company that needs people.
And they've been here for 26, 27 years.
Yes.
Something like that.
1995.
Yep. My neighbor works there, and he's got his 25-year pin coming to him. And he said there's a bunch of them that are like 30 or 40, I think. And so they're very loyal employees that are happy to be there. So.
Yes.
I'll move that we adopt Resolution 2021-13.
I'll second.
A motion and a second on 2021-13. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Next is Heartland Automotive. This is Resolution 2021-14 for Heartland Automotive. They have 3 or 4 layers of personal property abatement. This is on equipment granted in 2013, equipment granted in 2016, equipment granted in 2017, and equipment in 2018. So, Kristen, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Heartland's another one of those that were negatively impacted by COVID through employment. In 2020, year-end 2019, it was 551. And currently, or end of year last year, 460. So they are down by 90. They were at 19,597,000, and now they're at $18,303,000. So they're just about $1 million off. That's not bad. And one of those that, again, is looking to hire. And theirs is all personal property. None of theirs is real estate or real property. It's all personal.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2021-14, resolution affirming Heartland Automotive compliance of statement of benefits.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. Signatures. Next is Resolution 2021-15, resolution affirming IAC Greencastle LLC of compliance with statement of benefits. They have 2 layers on equipment, one granted in 2011 and one granted in 2013. So, Kristen, I will turn this over to you.
So this is going to be the one that a discussion might be held about, in that in 2020, year-end 2019, they were sitting at 561 for a total payroll of $27,808,000. They're now at 425, $16,010,000. So they're down 9 million. They're down 130 employees, and this does not take into account their most recent announcement. So they were already kind of gearing down. So they did get a new line out there. They've got the new Toyota Camry. They do center consoles and door panels, so they've got a Toyota Camry line out there right now. But they've taken their domestic work, which would be Ford and others, and that's what they're moving up to Michigan. So the domestic's moving up to Michigan. The Toyota line is staying out there as of right now, per the latest from their management team. And so, but they, like Bill announced earlier in the meeting, they have announced layoffs, and our Work One Center is working closely with them, doing a job fair for them. Local people are more than welcoming to those that are being displaced to come hire on. I know I've talked to a couple of my HR managers, and they are welcoming their employees. So, but 435 was at year-end last year, and they're down from that. And I don't have new employment numbers because they're now continually rolling layoffs.
Can I ask you a question or two?
Sure.
If you've never actually not certified we've never voted no on one of these.
Since I've been here for 5.5 years, I've never heard you vote no on one of these.
I've
Bill
been here longer.
Bill can address the 20 years prior to me.
And I once remember asking Lori this, and it was a murky legal issue. My next question is, what happens if we table this for a month?
You can table it.
It will not have any effect on anything.
No, that will not affect anything. If you decline or deny it, we have to certify to them. If you deny it, we have to certify to them that it's been denied, and then they can request a hearing process.
I would like to move to table it with the idea that we should have legal counsel present for any type of discussion. I mean, I'm fine if we want to go ahead, but I just remember the last time we talked about this, I think, Bill, you were standing up there.
Could be. The county has denied a couple of these over their tenure. As far as I can remember, the city has not, but...
I don't remember ever having one denied.
Is there any information?
On the second page, it says, if the property owner is found not to be in substantial compliance, the designating body shall send the property owner a written notice. The notice must include the reasons for determination, the date, time, and place of a hearing to be conducted by the designating body. The date of this hearing may be not more than 30 days after the date this notice is mailed. A copy of the notice may be sent to the county auditor and the county assessor. Then, based on information at the hearing, the designating body may determine whether or not the property owner has made reasonable efforts to substantially comply with the statement of benefits, and whether any failure to substantially comply was caused by factors beyond the control of the property owner. The designating body, if the designating body determines that the property owner has not made reasonable efforts to comply, then the designating body shall adopt a resolution terminating the property owner's deduction. If the designated body adopts such a resolution, the deduction does not apply to the next installment of property taxes owed by the property owner or any subsequent installment of property taxes. And then we have to mail a certified copy to the owner, county auditor, and the county assessor. So,
So there is an option out. Now, keep in mind, be cognizant of the fact that assessor and auditor are rolling values, and so right now they're working on abatements. So this is early, this is July, so we've got another month that we could do that. We can't postpone it much later than that because we need to have those assessed values.
I'm just throwing out an option.
Absolutely.
And if we don't choose to do that, I would then recommend that we read the entire thing into the record to make sure we're fully compliant, because we're about to potentially deny something.
Potentially.
Or discuss something, so. But my personal advice is to get.
I think that's a good, I would second that motion. You need to make a motion to table.
motion is to table.
Is there any...
I mean, we can have discussion, but now we got to have the motion on the table. I'm fine with the discussion on it, I just think we ought to ultimately have professional help here.
Yeah, and I think, the motion to table, there is no discussion, it's just table or not, then we move on, and next month we can discuss it.
Is there any information I can provide to you so that next month you might be more informed?
Well, that's what I actually would like to take a little more time and study.
Okay.
But
In terms of like...
There might be other I mean, we have new council members here who aren't as
I
used to
concur
this.
with Adam that I don't like legal counsel.
Yeah.
I think it may be an indefinite tabling, but we'll see.
Well, I don't think we can do that.
We can't do that.
We
have to
can't.
take
We're on a time...
Don't overly worry about the tax bills, because when things like this arise, or if we find an error, the county will issue a certificate of error and either charge them more or give them a credit. So there is a mechanism to take care of that.
And I just want to put on your radar, this happened in 2011 and 2013.
It's almost over.
So they're in some of the final years, especially the first one of that. So just making you aware that it's not like we just awarded this last year, and it's a huge
Could be
impact.
setting a precedent too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if there's any information I can think of would be how much of this equipment is going to be moved out of state anyway. It may go off the tax rolls anyway. So what's the point,
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I will say the county council did
we do, don't we?
deny Poets. They denied Poets, I think, 2 years ago because of similar circumstances. Now, Poet shuttered the whole thing, but so there has been a precedent set in the county, but not at the city level.
Okay. I think we need to vote since we made the motion to table in a second.
Okay, motion to table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The action on 2021-15 is tabled. Okay, the last abatement review resolution is for Phoenix Closures and Quattro LLC. This is 2 layers of abatement. Personal property with Phoenix in 2011, and real estate with Quattro again in 2011, and these are getting down to the end too. This is your 9 of 10 for the real estate side of things. So, Krista, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. So I'm not going to say that we left the best for last, because I think they're all the best, but this is the one bright star in that in 2020, or year-end 2019, they employed 118, and at the year-end of 2019, they were employing 119. So they're the ones that added 1 employee. They were at $6,043,000, and they're at $6.6 million now. So they have added an additional $600,000 to their payroll.
One person made a lot more money.
Yeah, exactly, right? Woo! No, they all made it. They spread the wealth.
I know.
You saw Bill. He came in here last month talking, or 2 months ago, talking about his expansion. So this one is almost off. This was 2011. They're going to add a new one next year. So that you guys just approved it last meeting. But you know what their story is. Jake went out there and visited. I mean, they've got a stellar operation out there. They're very high tech. They're food grade. Great company. I can't say enough. So
Great. We learned all that last month,
exactly.
Food grade, milk grade.
Yeah, exactly.
I was impressed by, I've never really seen the robotics and kind of it seems like they balance well the physical people working with the technology that's available to us as well. And I think that's important though too, because I think there are certain things you can't replace when it comes to physical workers. And it seems like they've got it set up to where they care about their people, but they have it set up to where it's efficient for them as well. So it was really cool to see that and to learn about the national and international brands that they serve right here in our smaller community. To hear some of their clients and see some of the caps and the closures they make for them was a little eye-opening. You never know. You never think about where your cap comes from, but to know that they play a big part in that industry right here is very cool. So, and I did see the room, I think, where they're looking at adding on what we just approved there with that new equipment. They kind of have the space already set up for it, it seemed like. So,
Does that mean you're ready to make a motion?
oh, absolutely. I'd make a motion to, let me pull it up again here. I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? When you open a container with a plastic cap on, if you see a little phoenix inside, there's a good chance it might have been made here, or obviously at any of their plants, but that's their logo on their cap.
So to summarize, Mr. Bernsey always likes this. Personal property, real estate, or real property, $51,957,578 that they have made capital investment, our companies. Personal property, $226,953,518. Employees, a little bit different, 2021, 2629. In 2020, 3179. So you see we have gone down because of the pandemic. 3179 was at year-end 2019, 2629 was year-end 2020. They were at 135,254,867. Now they're at 113,648,673. So we've gone down by about $22 million. But the average annual wage that I reported last year was $42,546. Its average annual wage now is $43,229. So it went up minusculely, but incrementally.
When you say annual wage, you're referring to within the manufacturing, not...
We're just taking the amount of payroll divided by the number of jobs.
Right, so, but we're talking within this spectrum of type.
Yeah, only.
Yeah, we're not talking citywide.
We're not talking citywide. We're only talking about companies receiving abatement.
Sure.
Yep. So there's even companies here that haven't received abatement, so we're not including those. It's not all manufacturing, it's just the companies receiving abatement.
Correct.
So,
okay.
Yep.
And I just did, I added them up as we went through. We approved 19 of 21 abatements there. Plus, we've got 2 new ones that we just approved last month and this month. And Lord knows how many have already gone by the wayside from these, like we talked, Crown, got abatements 26 years ago.
Sure.
So, and those abatements have long since expired. So, we've had a lot of abatements and a lot of investment in the community, and those numbers you just quoted there for investment probably don't include those old abatements that have been rolled off.
No, not at all. That's just our current ones we're working with today. So.
And I think the other negative, if there's a negative, thing is we're talking 500 less employees, and how much less wages on those?
22 million.
22 million less. I mean, we can see what we expect our income tax revenue to drop next year when we start getting the 2020 income taxes in 22.
Absolutely, that's probably a really fair assessment.
Yeah, and that's not. I mean, that's just those industries again, not all the other.
Yeah, no small businesses, no mom and pop shops. It's just the bigger employers.
We'll probably start seeing better numbers. I mean, even though some of these folks are looking for people, some of them have already ramped up some of their numbers already this year.
And that's why I wanted to clarify, this was year-end last year that they're
Right.
reporting their numbers on, so hopefully in the last 7 months that they have done that. And I'm just going to plug again, if we know of any manufacturing that has new equipment or new construction plans, but they have not put them in place yet, come see us, because we will work with them on abatement, and we work with them already anyway, but this is something that we love to do, and it's very beneficial. A lot of communities, they have economic development departments, but they don't provide this service. So a lot of counties, if you're a manufacturing firm in a county, you got to go hire your own attorney, hire your own accountant, and then you have to pay $5,000 to $10,000 in order to provide this service. So we're very glad that we can provide this to our existing employers.
The other thing that has helped to mitigate the impact of COVID is over $30 million has come into the county through the PPP program, and most of that was dedicated to help subsidize payroll. So hopefully some of that will help make up for some of these other losses. Sure. So see what happens.
Good?
Good. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I can put a plug in for Kristen, what she just said about other counties, I have turned to her more than once with a client of mine that is not in this county that applied for a small abatement, and she's been very helpful in that regards, and I really appreciate that, because their county economic development department director was not up to speed as much as Kristen is. So thank you, Kristen.
Okay, last item of business is Resolution 2021-10, a resolution establishing the policy by which members of the Common Council may participate by electronic means of communication. Whereas Public Law 88-2021, House Enrolled Act 1437, Section 5, amended IC 5-14-1.5-1, effective April 20th, 2021, by amending IC 5-14-1.5-3.5 to prescribe new requirements by which members of the governing body of a public agency of a political subdivision may participate in a meeting by any electronic means of communication. Whereas a member of the governing body may participate by any means of communication that, 1, allows all participating members of the governing body to simultaneously communicate with each other, and 2, except for a meeting that is an executive session, allows the public to simultaneously attend and observe the meeting. Whereas the Act requires the governing body to adopt a written policy establishing the procedures that apply to a member's participation in a meeting by an electronic means of communication, and may adopt procedures that are more restrictive than the procedures established by IC 5-14-1.5-3.5 Section D, and whereas the Common Council is the governing and fiscal body of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, Section 1, Authority. A, the provisions of the Act, including definitions, apply to this resolution. B, this resolution shall be known as the Electronic Meetings Policy of the Council and applies to the Council and any committee appointed directly by the Council or its presiding officer. Section 2, Requirements. A, subject to Section 3 and 5, any member may participate in a meeting by any electronic means of communication that I, allows all participating members of the governing body to simultaneously communicate with each other, and II, other than a meeting that is an executive session, allows the public to simultaneously attend and observe the meeting. B, a member who participates by an electronic means of communication, I, shall be considered present for the purposes of a quorum and may participate in final section only if the member can be seen and heard. C, all votes taken during a meeting at which at least one member participates by an electronic means must be taken by roll call vote. Section 3, Attendance. A, at least 50% of the members must be physically present at a meeting at which a member will participate by means of electronic communication. Not more than 50% of the members may participate by an electronic means of communication at the same meeting. B, a member may not attend more than 50% of the meetings in a calendar year by an electronic means of communication unless the members electronic participation is due to 1, military service, 2, illness or other medical condition, 3, death of a relative, or 4, an emergency involving actual or threatened injury to persons or property. C, a member may attend 2 consecutive meetings, a set of meetings, by electronic communication. A member must attend in person at least 1 meeting between sets of meetings that the member attends by electronic communication, unless the member's absence is due to 1, military service, 2, illness or other medical condition, 3, death of a relative, or 4, an emergency involving actual or threatened injury to persons or property. D, a member wishing to attend electronically shall first notify the clerk-treasurer at least 24 hours prior to the meeting time. If more than 3 council members request attending the same meeting electronically, priority shall be given to the first request received. Section 4, minutes and memoranda. The minutes or memoranda of a meeting at which any member participates by electronic means of communication must, 1, identify each member who was physically present at the meeting, participated in the meeting by electronic means of communication, and was absent. 2, identify the electronic means of communication by which all members participated in the meeting, and B, members of the public attended and observed the meeting if the meeting was not an executive session. Section 5, exemptions from electronic attendance. No member of the council may participate by means of electronic communications in a meeting at which the council may take final action to 1, adopt a budget, 2, make a reduction in personnel, 3, initiate a referendum, 4, impose or increase a fee, 5, impose or increase a penalty, 6, exercise the council's power of eminent domain, or 7, establish, impose, raise, or renew a tax. Section 6, emergencies. A, if an emergency is declared by 1, the governor under IC 10-14-3-12, or 2, the mayor under IC 10-14-3-29, members are not required to be physically present for a meeting until the emergency is terminated. B, members may participate in a meeting by any means of communication, provided that 1, at least a quorum of the members present, or at least a quorum of the members participate in the meeting by means of electronic communication or in person. 2, the public may simultaneously attend and observe the meeting unless the meeting is an executive session. 3, the minutes or memoranda of the meeting must comply with Section 4 of this resolution. All votes taken during a meeting at which at least 1 member participates by electronic means of communication must be taken by roll call vote. This resolution shall be effective from and after adoption by the Common Council of the Greencastle, of the City of Greencastle, and its approval by the mayor with proper signature lines. So I will open the floor up for questions or discussions. Lori put this together, so now I guess.
I mean, I was with the group that discussed this, and I think on its face, it's what we should do. I mean, if we're going to do it, but the question I want to ask is, do we believe in allowing for Zoom meetings? I mean, it's a little bit of a philosophical question. How we do it is less important than do we believe that we need to be here present for the meetings. I know no one's here, but you know, to me, I've been sleeping a lot on this. The essence of government is facing and being here for our constituents. On the other hand, times have changed, and electronic stuff is, you know, far more relevant in our younger members' generation than it is in mine. But that is what we're kind of balancing here. How do we feel about people not being present to actually face and see the public? And I think that's the question we have to ask. I think Section 6, or that last section about emergencies, that makes total sense. If the mayor declares an emergency, tornado, I can think of some times we've had them, and we need to meet, and there are times we do legally need to meet during those, that we need. But the question is philosophically, how do we stand? Because if we say yes to philosophically, this is a great proposal.
I think this is the future. Okay. I think after what we've been through, we don't go back. It does allow us the opportunity to attend a meeting if we happen to be out of town. I love that it says half of the people have to physically be here, right? 50%.
More than
right.
50%.
So 3 people in our...
3 people could.
Right. I don't think we're going to take advantage of this policy, but I think it enables us to perhaps attend a meeting where we may not have been able to 2 years ago and have input.
I think that gives our constituents more voice.
Okay.
Our voice being
That's
here,
true.
however it might be present.
We're not going to miss a meeting.
Right.
Because we have this as a backup.
I'm just asking a philosophical question.
And I like the fact that you can't miss more than two. And
Yeah.
I sure hope that somebody doesn't miss more than 50% of the meetings in a year due to death of a relative.
Or cousin.
Yeah. Or probably death of many relatives, because that'd be a lot of relatives to miss more than 6 council sessions.
Yeah, Cody, do you know?
Every single industry is trying to figure out how to take the best adaptations from last year and carry it into the future, and this is us dipping our toe into that realm. I would love for us to move, getting access out to the public electronically even further.
Oh, yeah.
This is just us dipping our toe and allowing members to attend electronically, but there's still so many protections maintained in here for the public because we have to be here to put our faces in front of the voters whenever we adopt a budget, make a reduction in personnel, initiate a referendum, impose or increase a fee, impose or increase a penalty, do eminent domain, or raise a new tax. So there could be, months in a row where all of us have to be here anyway.
That was my question to you. Cody, do you know, that was my question, so.
At least September and October, you're gonna be.
Well, I cannot think of a meeting where we do not deal with a modification of the budget, the payroll, or we do not have a referendum. I mean, yes, we've never done eminent domain.
The question came up during our discussions.
Yeah, so is it the whole meeting?
About whether that would only apply to that vote, or whether
That's what I was
it would
asking.
apply to other votes in the same meeting.
I don't know, that's what I'm asking. Because if you put these restrictions in, you're right, there's virtually no meeting.
Ethically, it makes sense to me that the legislator can participate in those votes that don't fall under those categories.
I honestly, I don't know.
A referendum, I don't know that we've ever initiated a referendum.
Well, I think initiation is first reading.
That's a resolution.
Referenda.
I think that's a very specific.
That's a different thing entirely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a different,
So,
But I think this is a great piece to keep moving here on first reading and get it to next one.
That's all.
it's a resolution, so it's only one reading.
So we probably need to clarify, at least internally, if one of these things applies, is it like Veronica says, or is it the whole meeting, or do you know, Cody, with the state statute? You're kind of our expert on this.
Say the question again.
So let's say we're adopting a budget, and I'm on vacation, and I zoom into the meeting. Do I only abstain from adopting the budget part, or am I abstaining in the entire meeting because that meeting has within it adopting a budget?
Could he approve a street closure?
We had sent that question to Lori, but I don't know if we.
I'm reading it that no member of the council may participate by means of electronic communication in a meeting at which the council may take
Right.
final action to do one of those 7 items.
you can't be
I think you're out.
You're out for the whole meeting.
Yeah.
That's the way I would read it. Now, we could probably, we can make this more restricted, but not less restricted.
yeah.
Okay. Because I think that we should add number 8, and that would be appointment of a school board member.
Oh, we would be one of the rare municipalities to have that.
And I think that's probably an oversight on the part of the state that they didn't.
Well, there's only
there's
like 6 in the whole state, or 4 or something,
Well,
yeah.
Right, because we are a rare breed, right?
yeah.
And so
I would accept that.
That's a really good idea.
I'm keen on that.
I mean, if you guys want to still work on this and table it till next month, the reality is we don't have the electronic means to do this, and it's probably going to take a while to put that plan together, so there's not an immediate need to pass this tonight, and it is a resolution, so it only requires one meeting to pass. So if there would be some legal questions that you'd like to have Lori to dive in a little further, we have time to do that.
I think we asked that specific legal question to Lori.
I think she answered before she left.
She didn't.
I'm trying to think if there's things other than the school board, like BZA. I mean, those are the two that jump to my mind.
Yeah.
Well, referendum is a specific term in state statute. It doesn't mean the resolutions we pass.
No, I'm saying, what Mark said I think is valid. You should be present for the school board
Yeah,
appointment, but are
that's
there any
that's a
other
great-
appointments?
That is a great catch.
Is there any other appointment like BZA that we need?
Every city council appoints BZA members, I believe.
Okay.
I believe.
I'm just thinking of things that really impact our community.
Right.
That once we appoint them, the school board's unique, and once we appoint them, they become very independent of us. BZA, once we appoint them,
They're still under our tutelage.
are they? I mean,
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah, but they,
I would push back on some of those appointments a little bit, because
Okay.
this still gives us the ability to attend, hear everything. The public can know that our case is seen and heard, and we will hear them. So it's still there, the protections put in place were just a baseline that cover a lot. So, yeah, there'll be a span of meetings where we won't be able to attend electronically.
Yeah, go ahead.
How much money are we willing to spend to make this happen?
you know, if part of making,
Because we are going to have to
Yeah.
do a lot of, so I just want to know how much money are we willing to spend to make this happen?
well, I'm going to flip my view on that, because I'm going to line up with Stacy. This, in part, letting the public be part of our meetings electronically is the future, and is a good thing. The more transparent our meetings become, the more they can easily find us on YouTube, on Zoom.
We're currently broadcasting live on our cable access channels and on YouTube as we
Like I
speak.
say hi to Mom right now. But
But she can't say hi back.
she can't say hi back. But we are moving, we are going to become a very transparent, you know, I mean, I think inevitably you'll be able to go to our website and watch not just our meetings, most of our city-appointed meetings.
Could some of the American Rescue Plan money be used to upgrade equipment? I didn't think so.
I will have to check that.
It'd be interesting to get an estimate, though, but I think it is the future.
I just wanted to ask a question, how much money are we willing to spend?
I'm willing to spend some money, because I think it's more, that part's more than us. That part is, how do we bring the public to our meetings?
Without physically having to be.
Because, I mean, you know, Jake's brought this up, we don't have, this would let more people come in and see what we're doing and maybe get involved.
Well, the reason I asked the question is whether we try to piecemeal it together with, our staff here and the help of Greg, or whether you want us to go out and get somebody professionally to come in and get quotes on what it would cost to do it I mean, I'm assuming that even if you would pass this tonight, you realize it's going to be probably 3 to 6 months before we will have remotely any equipment to do. I'm just asking the question what we need to.
Well, I would continue to say that we have a member of our council, not to keep throwing her under the bus.
Well, and Linda
but
and
this is her living.
Linda and I had a conversation yesterday while I was here for claims, and, we talked about the possibility of, putting a screen back over the fireplace and a second screen over there, splitting the video signal toward both of them. That would give the opportunity for everybody who's on the floor, including members of council, the ability to see participants from away, and it would require no modifications on the part of our feed for things like our feed for the public access channel. So that to me sounds like a minimum option. And with 65-inch and a 55-inch, if we go with consumer grade stuff and off-the-shelf splitter and a dedicated PC, I think we're probably talking at around $3,000 for the full Monty.
But I think there's also now concern that Greg, so when we have the conversation, we need to bring Greg in, because he said there'll be some issues with Zoom going out and communicating and different things, so.
There's feedback in the system.
There's going to be a lot of feedback in us continuing to do this live.
Right.
So,
Would it be realistic to ask, again, I don't want to throw other people under the bus, but most of what you just said.
And there are dedicated conference microphones that are available that are in the $300 to $400 range. We've deployed them there for remote teaching at DePaul, and they would serve the same use of mitigating feedback in this kind of.
Would it be fair to ask you and Linda and Greg to sit down and meet the three of you and come back with the, and Tom?
Yeah, and that's
come back with a
specifically
proposal?
what Linda and I were talking about.
Come back with some number figure for us?
We're also going to have to probably look at some personnel costs, because as this advances, it's going to be more than just letting this sit here. I mean, once I click somebody in, like Dave didn't click in tonight, so this was basically just not doing anything.
It shouldn't have to be your job,
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor.
we'll have to spend some money and train some people to run this, because when you get to the interactive stage, somebody's going to have to manage who's talking, so people aren't talking, the public isn't talking over each other. And so there's going to be some personnel cost involved in this, as well as equipment.
It might be something within the scope of a Bonner or a Media Fellows. It might.
I mean, if we're going to go with somebody, we're going to get a long-term commitment, because we don't have the time to train a new Bonner student every 6 months or every year when they turn over. So we're going
If they can't show up, then.
if they have a class or test or travel or something, or vacation, we're going to get somebody that will be with us for several years.
Well, that's why maybe a group of you should get together.
There may be grants out there, technology grants, because we're all kind of in the same boat,
So we can also research what if some of this federal dollars can go towards this stuff, but haven't really seen anything yet. But there might, or we can move some money around or something.
You might find that our local new radio station wants to carry some meetings.
What were you about to say, Cody?
No, I was just going to say that we can pass it or we can table it, because until we have the technology where we can make the members seen and heard,
That's a good point. I don't care.
yeah, we won't be able to do it anyway.
I mean, the other thing is, if you table it tonight, it would give you the opportunity, if you have any final legal questions that come up, allow Lori to answer those if they would be, and then, we can continue, get started on the research and stuff.
I'll move that we table Resolution 2021-10 until the next meeting.
Second.
Can we ask you, Veronica, to maybe help spearhead?
Yep.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, you can ask.
Linda and I are already on the case.
We're already
Keep going.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table Resolution 2021-10. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or any nays? Okay.
I do have one post comment after the fact, or question for
That's all right.
Linda. But electronic signatures, is that something that we could possibly do, or is that not in our wheelhouse?
I don't know that this was.
I don't know if this is gonna be allowed.
Club covered electronic signature.
Yeah, we'd have to take advantage of,
What the state statute.
Well, electronic signatures, I do know about. They're really, they're very easy and cheap to do. Whether we're allowed to do them,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
that may already be allowed to some degree, because right now, we sign a lot of our state contracts with electronic signatures.
DocuSign.
So, but that would be a good one that Lori could look at, and if we need to,
But if you're going to be
Add
here the
that.
following meeting, because you can't miss 2 in a row, then you just
Sign
catch up on.
Oh, you can miss 2 in a row, you just can't miss the
Or
third one.
the third one, you can't miss the third one, whatever.
right?
like right now, if you miss a meeting, but you voted on it through electronic, we just catch up with you later on the signature side.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that concludes our business for the evening. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Cody, or, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jake.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, did everybody sign all the fun paperwork?
I think so. Here's,
Mark, I need you to do one signature, and I'll just copy the rest of them on those resolutions.
We need to go back and check the forms a little bit. I think some of them got copied as our real estate.